Member for Roe. Thank you, Member for Burns Beach.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And can I also support the Leader of the Opposition with her motion asking the Premier to provide his ironclad guarantee that the border will reopen on the 3rd of March. And I remember on the night of January the 20th, I was actually in a meeting with about 8 other people, and they were in an absolute state of shock when that announcement came through. They just could not believe that the Premier had backflipped on that announcement. And I think, to be honest, the Premier is feeling bad. The Premier is feeling bad because all of last week, and again today, as demonstrated by the Dorothy Dixer asked by the member for Wanneroo, once again trying to justify the decision. So we've seen it every day since Parliament has started. The Premier's there trying to justify his decision, trying to make himself feel better because he's let the people of Western Australia down. And the international student sector is one that I've got to emphasise, because the Premier and the Minister for Education met with the Vice-Chancellors upstairs there in November. Everything's going to be great. First semester 2022. We'll give you our ironclad guarantee. That's going to happen. Then we have the date set in December, all the international students ready to go, and then on the 20th of January, he not only let the students down, but he let those universities down. And this damage, the damage from this decision, I think is going to take years to get over. We'll never know the financial and emotional cost. We do know the damage. Talking to the Vice-Chancellors, the worry that they've got about the mental health of their international students. Some of them are now almost too frightened to book their next airfare in case there's another backflip. So we've got our packages announced by the International Education Minister today after the damage has been done, but I can honestly say this is going to take years to get over. The reputational damage, not only to our international education sector, but to our business sector as well. We've got our business leaders moving east. It's easier for them to fly internationally than it is to fly back to WA. And you can absolutely guarantee the same thing as the international education sector, exactly the same thing. Once they start, they don't come back. And we'll see it over the next couple of years, and it'll take many years for this to recover. The same as the Premier's regional migration scheme announcement. The damage that did for at least 2 to 3 years, it's immeasurable. Just another one I briefly want to mention is sport. The Premier has said repeatedly, sport's not a priority. Well, I can assure you, Premier, sport is a big business. There's so many teams, and they've had the rug pulled out from under them, and they are worried about another backflip. And that is why we are wanting this ironclad guarantee, so they can actually start planning again, start working towards the season ahead. Education, of course, we had all of our families overseas, planning to come in on February the 5th, enrolling their children into primary and secondary schools. That backflip not only upended work opportunities, but it also severely impeded some of those families' plans as far as their education. And just one I do want to mention is how the community is now setting up their own Facebook page as far as health information, isolation rules, updated spreadsheet on exposure sites, and we've got 36,000 members of that Facebook page because they're not getting the information from this government. So when the Premier says on TV the other night, everything's going really well, we've had 2 great years, well, I tell you what, Premier, your salary arrives every week, but not for those businesses.